Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to worshiptutorials.com. Fuller here with our fifth and final installment of the top 5 secret weapons of the pros. Today we're going to be talking about something that's super critical, more important than all of the other things, and that is play for the song. In our other 4 videos, we talked about layering, we talked about chord qualities, we talked about ambient pads, moods and atmospheres, and all these things which are killer that has led us up to this point. Because without this, all those other things don't matter. See, because music and playing is not about you and not about what you can do. It's about doing justice and honor to the song that is before you. Our jobs as musicians is to interpret music, is to perform music, and to represent music. So it's really important as keyboard players that we are executing what I call the spirit of the song, the vibe of the song. You can play the right notes and you can play the right chords, but more important and deeper than that is capturing the spirit of the song. This applies to all musicians, guitar players especially, keyboardists, bass, drummers. Capturing the vibe of the song is what professionals do in their sleep. Okay, so now that my rant is over, let's talk about that. What is capturing the vibe of the song? Well, for one, it could be the feel, the mood. Is it upbeat? Is it energetic? Is it funky? Is it bluesy? Is it laid back? All these things should be incorporated into what you're trying to do. It's not just chords. Matter of fact, newsflash, most worship songs are 4 chords, maybe 5. If you throw in the minor 2 walk-up. But all these songs are the same chords. So what makes them special is the arrangements, the tone qualities, the sounds, all of these things that give the song life. Yes, of course, the lyrics. That's the most important thing. But from a musical perspective, you're responsible to carry that vibe of the song. One of the things that's really important as you're approaching songs is to learn how to learn songs. Okay? You can't just hear a song and go, okay, here are the chords, I'm going to play it on piano. You can, but that will be lame. What you want to do is you want to go, what can I do with what I have to capture the best vibe of this song? So what I want to do right now is give you a quick inside peek, maybe a little tip on how you at home can learn songs quicker, more efficiently, and more accurately with a little resource I like to call multitracks.com. So I'm going to show you how I would learn the song What a Beautiful Name as a keyboard player. You might listen to it and think, oh, it's just a piano part. Wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. It's piano, it's a synth part, it's pads, it's all these cool things. So we're going to go over and we're going to check it out. We're going to analyze the song, and then based on that information, we're going to create a patch to best play that song for the song. So let's go over to my studio desk and let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're talking about isolating prominent parts. Easier said than done, right? However, there is a great resource I want to show you that will make that process a lot easier for most songs. There's a website called multitracks.com. If you haven't heard of it, you should go check it out. They're one of the main suppliers of the church world as far as worship songs. They have all of the great worship songs that we're doing these days. What's cool about it is when you click on the multi-track of the song on their website, it gives you a list of all the parts, and you can actually go in and you can solo them and hear them. So as a keyboard player, if I were getting ready to prepare for a song that seemed like it had a few keyboard parts, I would go there and I would kind of listen to what each one are doing, and then I would kind of sum all those together like we talked about earlier. Now, you can do this with the recording, but it's really cool to be able to go in and just listen to those parts. So we're here at multitracks.com. Very simple website. Great website, great people. Let's go to What a Beautiful Name by Hillsong, which is a fantastic song. You look here, you've got a bunch of electrics. You got piano, keys 1 and keys 2, and strings. Okay, now as the keyboard player, I'm covering those parts. So we're going to listen to the piano first. I bet you this is just chords. Actually, it's just low octaves on the left hand. This is the bridge section. You can't really pick what part of the song. Multitracks does that for you, unless you have rehearsal mix. All right, let's listen to keys 1, see what that sounds like. That's a huge washy synth, okay? And you can tell right away that sound is critical to the song because that's the bridge. It's giving it all that body. I mean, just listen to that patch. That's a big sound. If you were just playing piano, that song would not, you would not be playing that song. You would be wimping out, and that's lame. Don't do that. Let's listen to keys part 2. Sweet. You can't really hear this much in the recording, so they got it mixed pretty low. That's basically another synth sound, but there's some sort of side chain compression gate going on. But still just basic chords. So let's do the math. We got the piano playing just low notes in the left hand and chords up top during the rest of the song if you listen to the song. The keys part 2 is a big synth, just playing chords. Let's go back to that synth 1 part real quick. Guys, this is not rocket science. It's just chords. It's just 4, 5, 6, 1. So the piano and synth part, easily layered to really fill in that sound, especially with our MainStage Pads Player. Now, keyboard track 2 is really cool. It's giving it that rhythm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a synth part, and I'm going to put a gate on it. And that gate is going to give me that womp. I'm just going to hold the chord, and you're going to hear the gate go womp, 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 womp. This is the beautiful thing about MainStage. So let's do it. Okay, so let's look at What a Beautiful Name first. What's cool, I'm going to open up my MainStage Ultimate Pads Player 10 here, which we just released, which is awesome. So we're looking at What a Beautiful Name here. So we already got our piano sound. Okay, we're in the key of D major. Hear the pads here, which is good. Always nice to have those. But we'll stop those for now. We got our piano patch already loaded on patch 1. Okay. Then we've got B3 is already loaded on 4. Okay. And if you can hear, this is the B3 sound. Let me turn that piano off for a second. This is the B3 patch. And when I play the sustain pedal, you'll hear the rotary kick in. Really cool effect. So I already got my piano, and I've already got my Rhodes, or my B3. So we're going to be playing the bridge of What a Beautiful Name, you know. You have no rival. That part, okay? So we've got the piano just playing chords and B3 underneath. Bring the B3 up just a little bit, because this is a big part of the song. So already this is beefing it up, and I'm not playing anything different than I would have if I was just playing piano. So now we got the piano, we got the B3. Now remember that synth part that had the really cool da 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 like 16th note gate? Let's make that. Okay, so I'm gonna open up MainStage. I have the string patch on channel 3, which is awesome, but I'm gonna replace that. So I'm gonna go to my edit mode in MainStage. I'm gonna click over here on the string channel, which is right here. As you'll see, I'm on the Ultimate Patch Pro. Right now I've got a string patch and Omnisphere. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna find a cool synth sound that kind of accomplishes what we're trying to do. So one of my go-to synths is called Gaga Fizz. Let's see if it's in here. Here it is right here. So this is massive synth sound, right? That's that big fat synth sound that we like, okay? Now, I do want to dial that back a little bit, so I'm just going to click on the EQ. And I'm going to roll out some of that high end. Okay, because here's what it sounds like without the EQ. Super obnoxious. So here, it's a little more bearable. Now, let's put that gate on there, because if you remember, it was gating in and out. So we're going to put a pattern gate. We're going to go over to this channel here. Again, this is the sound. I'm going to add a step effects, which is down here under under multi effects, step effects, stereo. And right now you don't hear any difference because it's not doing anything. I'm going to go to this first preset under simple gated, anthem gated space. And this is just creating a rhythm. So when I hold down this chord now, listen to the rhythm it creates. Now here's something to consider. Anytime you're using a time-based effect like delay or especially an arpeggiator or a gate, you need to make sure that the tempo of your project matches the tempo of your song. So if you glanced at it when we were at multi-tracks, you saw the tempo of What a Beautiful Name was 68 beats per minute. So I'm going to go in here. You can tap it and try to do it live, but an easier way to do it is if you go into this patch that you're working on and you go right down here, change tempo to, we're going to change that right to 68. Now we're in perfect sync with the click track if we're using a click. And now when you listen to that gate, it's going to be at that tempo. So now we got a lot of cool action going, and you can tweak this sound. You can tweak the rhythms. You can change the rhythms or anything, but that's a different tutorial how to use the step effects. So now let's look what we got here. All right, so we got pads going in D. We're going to roll those off a little bit, thin it out in the bottom register. We're going to bring up our piano. Okay, we're going to bring up our B3 underneath. Then we're going to slowly bring in that synth, so check this out. Now, we're still playing the exact same part, but it sounds like a fully produced song. Right now, we're playing the song, so it sounds like this. And there you have it. So now, instead of just playing piano, we're playing the song. We're really getting into it just with a couple basic tweaks. Now I can save this patch as What a Beautiful Name, and I'm good to go. And then I can bring those layers in and out as I need to give the song a boost. It may seem a little hard at first, and don't be afraid to break things. You're not gonna break anything. Go in there, start changing sounds, adding effects, and kind of see what they do. Start getting familiar with the stuff. But remember, make sure the tempo's set to the track, because if you have the tempo wrong, then that arpeggio is gonna be out of time and it's gonna sound terrible. So make sure your tempo's locked in, and then just start playing with the sounds and apply those other principles and tricks that we've been teaching you in the top 5 secret weapons of the pros, and I think you'll love the results. So you can see a big difference. It's well worth investing time into capturing the spirit of the song. Your production will be better, the band will be more inspired, and it'll just be awesome. You'll be pulling your weight as a keyboard player. So I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. We're going to talk about just a few practical tips along the way as you're learning these techniques. And the first one is this. Listen to the song like we did, evaluate the parts, and arrange and condense in your head to make sure that you are collectively pulling all of the important parts of the song into what you're doing. You could probably get away with 2, maybe 3 patches at the most for most of these songs. Another tip is to make sure you know who's in the band with you that particular time. How many guitar players do you have? Do you have a percussionist? Do you have a piano player, another keyboardist? Whatever you do, know the arrangement, because that will determine how much sound you need to cover. If you have just a bass player, a drummer, and an acoustic player, you're going to have to do a lot. But if you have 2 electrics and an acoustic and another piano player, you can probably finesse it a little bit more and maybe get a little deeper into the specific details of the song. Make sure you pick complementary tones. Don't pick tones that fight against the vibe of the song. If the song is super aggressive, don't pick mellow sounds. If the song's super mellow, don't pick aggressive sounds. Another tip that I learned in my Nashville days is fill in the gaps. Country music does this all the time. You'll have a fiddle and a banjo and a harmonica, and take turns filling in the gaps, in between turns and in between courses and all these instrumental breaks. But know where that's going to happen. If you have a lead guitar that's going to be playing a solo, keep it chill, stay out of the way. But if there's nothing, maybe that's where you can insert some color, some improvisation to give the song some more interesting vibe. Remember, just keep it in the spirit of the song. If it's a laid-back mellow song, you don't want to do a funky blues riff. That would be terrible. Another tip, stay out of the way. We have access to all these big fat sounds. Don't overdo it. You don't want to take up the entire sonic landscape of the sound. Then you don't leave room for the other musicians and you'll be a bad friend. Another tip is learn how to compensate for recording techniques. In the studio, you can layer as much as you want. You can add 10 cents, 20 cents, whatever you want. But live, you're limited to what you have. Yes, you can use multi-tracks, but let's be honest, most of us as musicians want to play the live music. So make sure you figure out, listen to the recording. If the song is really punchy, it might be because they're layering a bunch of stuff. So maybe what you want to do, instead of trying to get one sound punchy, layer a bunch of sounds until you get that vibe, that punchy vibe. Then again, you're capturing the spirit of the song. Maybe you're playing something that's different than the album, but it's capturing that same feel. That's really important. So learn how to compensate for production techniques. Now, you notice today I've been using our MainStage Pads Player. I believe firmly that MainStage is one of the best ways to perform live. It gives you so much freedom and flexibility. It's very cheap. If you're a Mac user, you can get MainStage for 30 bucks. If you're a PC user, honestly, it's worth buying a Mac to have. I have not found a keyboard that covers as much ground as MainStage does. And if you're a producer and you use Logic Pro, you're already familiar with most of what MainStage can do. So it's a great investment. If you're interested in exploring the patches we have, today I was using our MainStage Pads Player number 10 that just came out. I love it. It's so practical and it's such a great way to incorporate sounds. You saw how quickly we were able to make a gated synth. So check that out on our website. The links are below if you want to look at those. We have some free ones available for you to experiment with if you're interested in that. And I also want to give you just a couple tips. I know learning songs can be very intimidating for a lot of you. So let me give you a couple tips to make the process of learning songs easier. Tip number one is learn more music theory. The more music theory you know, the easier you're going to be able to learn songs. The reality is this: most of the songs we do are really simple. They're the same chords, just in different combinations. So as you train your ear and you learn how chords work together, you're going to start just hearing a song on the radio and instantly know how to play it. So learn as much music theory as you can. Another tip is to, when you're first listening to a song, get a pad of paper and just write down the structure of the song. Intro, verse. And as you hear the song changing, get familiar with the feel. You can almost start to predict when these things are going to happen, and 9 times out of 10, you'll be right. Also, as a keyboard player, when I'm listening to songs, if I know I'm going to be playing keys on a song, I'm listening to the song and I'm identifying signature pieces, signature sound. Maybe there's an opening synth riff. Okay, I'm going to write that down. Maybe there's a main piano part. Okay, I'm going to write that down. So you already kind of learned the chords. Now I'm just writing down signature pieces. Make sure I do this on the bridge. This is a very signature part of the song. Maybe during this chorus, I'm just kind of laying back. Write those things out, because by the time you get in front of your keyboard to learn the songs, you already have a really firm grasp on the song itself. Also, make sure you know who's going to be playing what. If you have a song that has a massive lead line, but if the guitar player is going to be playing that, then you don't need to use your hands to do that. That frees you up to do other stuff that he can't do. So there's no reason really to double things, you know, if it's going to take away from other things you could be doing. So figure out, make sure you know who's going to be passing the lead lines around. Another thing is to just make sure, as you're listening to the song, figure out what tones you're going to use for each song. Maybe the verses are mellow and I know I'm just going to use piano and pads. So I got verse, verse 2, and the turnaround's done. On the chorus, though, I need to bring in a synth part. So I'm going to focus on the big parts, adding the synth. So I might just have 2 patches. And then maybe on the bridge, I know I'm going to have to kick in a gated synth or something. So I've already got the song mapped out, what 3 patches I'm going to be using, and I can just bounce back and forth in those. And I can just bounce back and forth in MainStage with those patches. Another trick is this: keep it simple, right? Play what you can play. Don't try to outdo yourself. This might mean you may need to simplify some of the parts. If I'm trying to learn a song and I know listening to it, I can't play that, then I immediately know when I get to that part of the song, I'm changing it. I'm going to keep the vibe of the song, I'm going to keep the feel of the song, but I can't play that. I'm not as good as that person who ever played on that album. So if your technique betrays you, just bring the song down to your level, because it's better to play something simple really well than to play something difficult and it not be that good. Pros do this all the time. Pros can't play everything, so what they're going to do is they're going to play what they can play the best. And so it gives you the impression they can play anything. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video today, and thanks again for checking out our series. Again, if you haven't seen the other 4, go back and check those out. Also, like and subscribe so you can get notified when we release new keys content. We'd also love to have you a part of the conversation. Make sure you comment in the section below and let us know what you'd like to see us cover in the next keys video.